Hey guys, are you ready to transform your mind so you can transform your life? Coach Mirna brings you one-on-one coaching and expert guests weekly to help you to grow. Because happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy goal.
Looking for personal growth? Let's do it. For millions of businesses, Shopify helps you do your thing however you cha-ching. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout as Kim Kardashian Skims. Sign up now for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/transform, all lowercase.
Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. I'm your host, Life Coach Mirna Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Rebecca Zung. Rebecca and I are going to be talking on the topic, how to negotiate with a narcissist and when. I will tell you that the conversation about narcissists has always been my most favorite. I love talking about them. I remember reading this book years ago about the psychopath next door, and it's always fascinated me. So I hope that Rebecca and I can share with you information on dealing with a narcissist, because they're very common, more common than you can think of. So welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
All right. So let me give you a brief introduction. Rebecca Zung is a globally sought-after expert in the art of negotiation and high-conflict communication. Speaking on platforms worldwide, she is a best-selling author of several books, including Slay the Bully, How to Negotiate with a Narcissist and Win. She's a YouTube celebrity with more than 40 million views in just 3 years. She's also the founder of the proprietary Slay method of negotiating with narcissists, and her programs have transformed thousands of lives in more than 100 countries and on every continent. Married at 19 for the first time, she had 3 children by the age of 23, and then was a divorced single mom when she decided to go back to law school. She went from being a single mom, college dropout, to becoming one of the most powerful lawyers in the country at the helm of a multi-million-dollar practice. Rebecca's podcast, Negotiate Your Best Life, is ranked in the top 5% of all podcasts globally. Now remarried and a mom to 4 kids, she's committed to sharing her secrets and empowering others to live their lives at their optimum level of success, professionally and personally. Awesome. Like Rebecca, right off the top, I want to congratulate you on going from single mom to badass attorney at the helm of multi-million-dollar practice. So how did you get into this work about narcissists? Were you married to one?
Well, I had all sorts of different things. I mean, my first husband was definitely not a narcissist. We were just married too young. But I really started studying narcissism to beat them in the courtroom so that I could, because everybody started to be a narcissist, you know? I mean, all of my clients started saying people were a narcissist, right? And so I really needed to start studying it so I could win in the courtroom. And it was really like I had discovered penicillin when I started applying it to what I was already a master at, which was negotiation. And that's really how it started to come about. But I will say, you know, I was bullied as a kid for being Asian. You know, I'm half Chinese. And it's always a lot easier to advocate on behalf of others than it is in your personal life as a peer or in a relationship. You know, in relationships, I will say I was always more showing up as a pleaser, as somebody who didn't have necessarily great boundaries. And so for sure, I was, you know, much more of an empath. And so for sure, I was definitely ripe for a narcissist to be preying on me.
Right.
So, that's what narcissists look for, right? And so it was great information for me as well. And so for me to start using what I was applying in the courtroom and in my mediation tactics, my conflict resolution tactics. I started using it in my personal life too. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that you weren't, married to a narcissist, because you would come away with some trauma from that. So that's great.
Oh, well, I won't say that I didn't have a lot of trauma in my personal life, in many other ways. I mean, my mother's an alcoholic, and my mother-in-law definitely, has issues. I mean, lots of other people close to us in our world, for sure.
Yeah, I just loved your story about, single mom at 19, going back to law school, becoming successful. I love that story. All right. So today we're talking about negotiating with narcissists and win. And as you said, your skills in the courtroom, you started studying this, and you have kind of like an acronym for, narcissists called high conflict personalities, or HCPs. So, can you share who are high conflict personalities, and how do these individuals form? Like, are they born this way, or are they develop this way?
Oh, such great questions. Both of them are such great questions. So high conflict personalities aren't always necessarily completely narcissists, but narcissists are always high conflict personalities. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But and here's the thing about that. People who can say somebody's a narcissist, and maybe somebody's a narcissist or they're not a narcissist, but it really doesn't matter, because how they show up for you is all that really matters, right? It's the impact on you. And the thing is, what this person is a person who really gets off on conflict. That's what they enjoy. They enjoy the I want to get supply from you. And, I remember my father-in-law, God rest his soul, I don't know if he was a narcissist or not, but he was definitely kind of a high conflict personality, in the sense of, we would be at a dinner conversation and he would get somebody to the point of being upset, almost on the verge of tears or whatever. And he'd go, well, now we're having a conversation. And it's like, no, this person is really upset. Like, that's not a conversation, but that's a high conflict personality. They enjoy the process of getting somebody squirming, upset. That they like that friction. And they get off. It's almost like a high of enjoyment of seeing people squirm. And that's definitely a narcissist for sure. And where does it come from? It's definitely not a genetic thing. There's no mutation where you can go, oh, there's that person. It's definitely trauma. And what happens is that, well, all of us, when we are dealing with stress, our bodies emit hormones, which are adrenaline and cortisol, which we're all familiar with, right? Which prepare us to run faster or deal with the stress of whatever it is that we're dealing with. Well, when we're children, and this happens on a regular or continuous basis, it can cause damage to the emotional center of the brain, which is the limbic system part of the brain. And then what happens is then there can develop a lag between the thinking judgment part of the brain, which is the neocortex part of the brain, and the emotional center part of the brain, which is the limbic system. And so what happens is, when they grow up and they are triggered then by various things that happen in their lives, which are not necessarily rational or reasonable, like they feel like they're going to be slighted in some way, or they think that they're going to be exposed, or they think they're going to experience a loss of control, or it can be verbal or nonverbal. So it could be an eye roll, it could be a tone of voice, or anything like that. Then what happens is then that emotional center part of the brain, they call it narcissistic injury, then is triggered, and it literally shuts down the neocortex part of the brain. And now they're only thinking with that part of the brain. And now rational or reason is gone.
Out of the window.
Out of the window. And so you're no longer communicating with rational or reasonable.
Wow.
And so now they become unaware of the collateral damage that they're causing to other people around them. It's called narcissistic blindness. And so they literally become blind to that. And the really scary thing is during the discard phase of narcissism, where they literally discard people, you become public enemy number one, because they have to take you down before you can take them down. Well, what will happen is then they will actually self-sabotage in order to take you down.
Oh my goodness.
So they will literally say, I will burn my business to the ground
before I give you money. Right.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. This is totally new information for me, because I always lumped the narcissist with a psychopath. And I sort of telling you, but that broke the psychopath next door. I was lumping them all together, but I love this new spin on the narcissistic psychopathic person, because I'm imagining being in a courtroom or a divorce where you're having this narcissist and he's willing to throw out they call it the baby with the bathwater so that he can win. Is that what they want to do? They want to win, or they just want to spite the other person?
Both.
First?
Well, it's both. So what I call it is there's a narcissistic supply, right? So most people just say supply in general, which is, feeding that ego. But supply is really tiered. So it could be reputation, which is the highest form of supply, how they look to the world. They'll protect and defend that at any cost. Mm-hmm. But then there's that manipulation factor, which is making you sweat, seeing you squirm, giving you pain, that almost sadistic factor. And
enjoying it too. They enjoying
it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. It could be smearing you, putting you down to make themselves feel better. And all of that, rage comes from making themselves bigger because they feel small. By making themselves bigger, it makes that smallness so not so small. And so what all of that is, though, is really a lesser form of supply, but that is all part of it too. So while winning is one part of it, that's only part of it, because that's why you can't resolve things in negotiations. That's why they constantly move the goalposts, and you can't ever get your cases settled. And people think, oh my God, I spent so much money on these cases, or I can never resolve things. It's gone on for years. It cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why? Well, this is why, because they also enjoy the process of seeing you sweat and squirm.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow. So no wonder that you have made this your life goal in order to work with that person, because I can just imagine, you being an attorney, and you're saying, coming across all these narcissists every single time. Wow. So, how did you come up with a solution to the best way to communicate with a narcissist? Let's start with the courtroom, and then we can take it down to personal.
Well, I mean, for one thing, I had a narcissistic business partner at one point too, not as an attorney, but in a different, entrepreneurial type of a realm. But also just helping people on a global scale. During COVID, I started on YouTube and I saw that this one video, How to Negotiate with a Narcissist, was the one that really took off. And so I started developing a program around it, which is, has helped tons of thousands of people around the world. It has an app that's part of the program, and it's completely digital, so people can use it wherever they are. And so that's something that is incorporated in what I do. I mean, the app, it helps people find a lawyer. It helps people create leverage. It helps people organize their documentation. It helps people with finding hidden assets and income and dealing with trackers and hackers, like really everything that people need as far as negotiating with narcissists. So that's part of it. And I've also developed a high conflict negotiation certification program, which trains coaches now so that people can coach people in this realm as well. So I've, certified hundreds of coaches at this point. And so this is my life's work at this point, because I always say I'm developing an army of light workers. I feel like I've been chosen by our creator to be the conduit to do this. And this is what I feel like I've been called to do.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Kim Kardashian's Skims or Justin Bieber's Drew House, you think about a great product or a cool brand with brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, including Skims and Drew House, that business is Shopify. Shopify helps you do your thing however you cha-ching. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. So, if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business today and get the same checkout as Kim Kardashian's Skims. Sign up for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/transform, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/transform to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/transform.
I've been a realtor for over 24 years, and it breaks my heart to see my clients get denied housing, whether they're trying to buy a home or trying to rent an apartment, due to poor credit. When your credit is less than ideal, your options become limited. You may face rejection when trying to purchase a home, and when renting, you may have to settle for a less than ideal apartment or pay a hefty deposit up front. Some people think that no credit is good, but it's not. No credit is the same as poor credit. So what's the solution? Build up your credit so you can become a homeowner, get that nice apartment, get a good rate on a vehicle, or even get your dream job. Yes, top employers check your credit. Kickoff simplifies credit building with plans that are the fastest, easiest way to safely jumpstart your credit, making what feels impossible possible, and no credit check required. Kickoff users with credit under 600 increased their credit by an average of 28 points in the first month. Kickoff has been praised by major finance, lifestyle, and tech publications as a smart way to build credit fast. Kickoffs have a 4.9 rating on the App Store and over 100,000 rave reviews. Build your credit fast with Kickoff, the best credit building plan to jumpstart your credit. Get your first month for $1. That's 80% off the normal price when you go to getkickoff.com/transform today. That's getkickoff.com/transform. Must sign up via getkickoff.com/transform to activate offer. Offer applies to new Kickoff customers first month only. Subject to approval. Average impact of 28-point increase in the first month based on Equifax Venture Score 3.0. Changes to Kickoff customers with starting credit below 600 who made their first on-time payment between January 2021 and March 2024. Payment and credit activity outside Kickoff can have an impact on your credit. Terms and conditions may apply. Offer subject to change. Individual results may vary.
I love it. Yeah, whenever you've got a specific niche like this, you definitely call. And usually it starts off with, like the marriage thing. So it's interesting that it didn't start off that way. And if someone right now is going through a divorce with a narcissist or a high conflict person, what is one way that you can tell them, without going through your program or anything, that they can communicate and deal with this person?
Yeah. I always say there's, even SLAY is my acronym, which is strategy, leverage, anticipate, and you. But the first thing I always tell people to do is step 1, don't run. Step 2, make a U-turn. Step 3, break free. So step 1 is part of the strategy. And that is just put one invisible shield down around you and just start, I explained that they are basically 2-year-olds in adult bodies. So start looking at them as if they are a toddler having a tantrum on the floor, and just start realizing that that's basically what they are. They're going to just scream louder, and they're going to scream longer, and they're going to be like, I want that bottle, give it to me. And they're just going to scream louder and longer until they realize that they're going to have to give up, and they're going to be the worst right before they give up. And you're just not going to give in. And so you're just going to demand one, that you're going to have respect for yourself, and you're going to have that boundary. And that's going to be your first boundary. Your first boundary is going to be that you're not going to have a conversation unless it is respectful. And no matter who the person is, if it's your boss, your mother, your sister, your brother, your whoever it is, if you're a human being on this planet, you deserve to be spoken to with respect, period, end of story. And so you can use phrases, and I have phrases that are free that people can get at disarmthenarc.com. They're totally free, so you can just get them. And you just start with, this approach is not working for me. You can say something like that. Or if they say something like, you're a whatever, they just want to fill in the blank. You just say, thank you for the feedback. You just, okay, whatever. I mean, you've got your invisible shield down around you. So I agree with you that is your opinion. I agree with you is always a good one. I agree that that's what you think. I understand. I hear you. That's an interesting perspective. You just, okay, whatever. I mean, you don't have to do anything. That's what they think. And you just let it go right there. You're just looking at them as if they're a toddler having a tantrum on the floor. I can see that you're upset, and we can continue this conversation when you've calmed down. And that's it. You remain calm, though. You remain calm, and never use absolutes with them. You don't say you always this or you never that, or anything like that. Never use swear words. I always say never use swear words, because anytime you go to those things, that's what they're going to seize on. Okay, this is where you go. This is, everything is going to be about that now. So, I have a lot of ways that you can communicate powerfully in my program, but instead of going higher with your tone, go lower. Because the lower you go, then the less emotional you sound. The minute you lose control, they know they have you. So, they go fishing, they go and they bait you and they really right. Yeah. Now you're sucked in, dragged down. You don't want to go down there. You want to be here.
Right. I love that. That's brilliant in so many levels. Because yes, you said that their main purpose is to see you squirm and sweat. And what feeds that? When they seeing you squirm and sweat. So if you never squirm and sweat, you're not giving them the ammunition. And when you talk about don't get angry or don't raise your voice or don't swear or whatever, because that's like throwing gasoline on the fire.
Yeah.
So I like it when you say, hey, this person is zinging me, but they're not getting a response. So I'm not feeding them. So that's beautiful. My husband is not a narcissist, but there are certain times that he loves to get a reaction out of me.
Right.
Like I would walk in the door and he wouldn't look up or something. And I would get so mad because I'm saying you can't even say hello or whatever. And he's doing that to get a response from me. So I understand. So
but you're Teflon, your invisible shield. Yeah. Your invisible shield down around you. That's what you do.
Yes. I love it. But you've learned that as early as in school when you have a bully, because they tell you not to let the bully know that when they call you a name or something, that it's getting to you, and you have to pretend that it's just water over a duck's back or something. So, the skills that you learn early on in life, you can carry on later on. So that's beautiful. People forget those things and they just react and respond. And you've got to learn how not to react, especially when you know that you're dealing with, I love your word, high conflict personality, someone that's always looking for a fight, right?
Yes. So I'll give you a couple more because I always say observe, don't absorb, respond, don't react. So I'll give you something that I always say to people because I'm half Chinese. So I always wear jade. So you'll remember this. I always wear jade, but never jade. So never justify, argue, defend, or explain. Never justify, argue, defend, or explain, which is jade. And the reason why is because when you're dealing with a high conflict personality, first of all, they're going to say things. They're going to be, obviously, they're trying to get supply from you. So they're going to say the thing that's going to be the thing that's going to try to bait you. They're going to try to trigger you. So if they know that integrity is important to you, they're going to accuse you of being dishonest, right? Or, you're the one who took the money, or you're terrible with numbers, or whatever it is. And it's because they want you to go, what? I'm the one who always does the thing, and then they're...
that's your justification, right?
And so never justify, argue, defend, or explain. You know why? Because you've never seen one go, oh my gosh, you are
true.
Right.
Yes.
I stand corrected. They're never going to get them so funny.
Yes.
Where are you going with that?
Yes. Wow.
How do you think this is going to end?
Oh my gosh, that is so true. I love that. All right. So one of the questions I have here is, can you have a successful relationship with a high conflict personality? We're not even calling them narcissists anymore. We're calling people that likes to have conflict. My daughter was engaged to somebody. They ended up committing suicide, but he was one of these personalities where she would say one thing and he would argue about it all night. In fact, the night before he committed suicide, she called him and he didn't answer his phone. And she asked him, why didn't you answer the phone? And that turned into an argument all night. Why would you dare ask me why I didn't answer the phone? And then the next day he committed suicide because,
no.
I mean, I know it's one of those things but and we were all saying, we didn't want him to commit suicide or anything, but we're all saying that she would never have been happy with that type of person. So can you have a relationship with someone like that and be happy?
No, not to be happy. Well, I was going to say, you just added the end of the sentence. No, the answer is no. I mean, can you have a relationship? Only if you have, want to sentence yourself to never having any needs of your own and being a complete, being completely depleted and exhausted at all times. And no.
Yeah.
Of dimming your light and completely sucking your soul. I mean,
wow. This is a great conversation to have because I love, putting this kind of information out there for people to become aware, because awareness is key. Consciousness is key. So this is really an important conversation because you know what? A lot of people, like you said, you're seeing it in a courtroom, but people are seeing it in their homes and their bedrooms. You know what I mean? So this is a great conversation. So, all right, I know that our time is limited today. So tell us about your book, Slay the Bully. It's funny, I was just talking about a bully a minute ago from childhood, but there's bullies when you grow up too. So your book is called Slay the Bully, How to Negotiate with a Narcissist and Win. Mm-hmm. So tell us what this, I think you mentioned it before, but maybe you can expand now. What does Slay stand for? Why did you write the book? And what do you want people to walk away with after reading?
Yeah, so SLAY stands for strategy, leverage, anticipate, and you. And strategy is creating that vision and where is it that you want to go. Leverage goes back to the two different forms of supply. You have to create a form of leverage where you are threatening a form of supply that's more important for them to protect than the supply that they get from manipulating you, which is that diamond level supply. And you do that through your documentation, through your text messages, your correspondence, your witnesses, your patterns. You're looking through the patterns, right? And I teach you how to do that through my program. And then and A is anticipate what they're going to do and be 2 steps ahead of them. You do that through knowing the type of narcissist or high conflict personality that you're dealing with, and then having a toolkit. I have, dozens of different types of tools that people can use. I just gave you a couple little tasters right there. And then you is your mindset, 100% knowing that you can win and 100% being on the offensive at all times. I mean, your mindset is more important than anything. You in your authentic power. And, I always give the example of Glinda, the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz. When the Wicked Witch came around her and she was standing there and she said, "Go away. You have no power here." Glinda was completely like, "Please, lady, I don't even know." And the Wicked Witch was scared of her, right? Because Glinda was in her authentic power. And that's really what it's like when a narcissist or a high conflict personality goes near somebody in their authentic power, because they know that there's no opening there. There's no vulnerability. They go to people who have vulnerability.
Yes.
And so when you're in your true authentic power, there's no vulnerability. That's who they really respect, is people who don't have those vulnerabilities. And once you know how to stand in your authentic power, then you're completely bulletproof. That's what it's all about.
Okay. So that's great.
Yeah.
So what do you want people to walk away with after reading the book?
The book is available everywhere. And what I want them to walk away with is that message. And I mean, the first step is step 1 is don't run, is what we talked about, all of those tactics. And then step 2 is create that U-turn, and you do that through your leverage, through creating your vision, your leverage, and figuring out how you're going to spring it on them, and creating that way to squeeze them into doing what you want. And you do it without backlash. You use their own stuff against them. And then step 3 is break free. And you're completely broken free once you are able to live your life and move forward. And the strategies and everything that I teach are not about the narcissist. It's about you, because narcissists are always going to be around. They're always going to be around. I mean, it's an epidemic. It's about you knowing how to handle yourself in a way that you have freedom and you have power and you know how to be who you are meant to be. And every single person born on this planet is born for greatness. And you all know that you were born for more. Everybody knows that they were born for more.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to let someone suck the life out of you. Right. Yes. By just being in an argument every single day for every single thing and enjoying it. Wow. Yes. Wow. That is really interesting that we have so many of these high conflict personalities running around.
Yeah. Don't give them the power. Do not give them the power. Do not give anyone your power. You are meant.
Right. Okay. So, tell us your website, your social media handles. Tell us about your coaching program so that the listeners can reach out.
Yes. So my YouTube is RebeccaZung.tv. My Instagram is @RebeccaZung. They can get my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet. That's a prep playbook. That's 15 pages. They can get that at winmynegotiation.com. My book is available everywhere the books are sold. So Amazon, I have 3 books there. Totally get any of my books there. And then, of course, my website is RebeccaZung.com. Everything is there, too. And, I look forward to helping people from your community. And because, I'm here to serve.
Right. Exactly. Well, thank you for that. And your podcast is called Negotiate Your Best Life. Right.
Yes.
So, right. Awesome. Well, listen, guys, this was such an important conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed sharing this information with you. I will have a transcript of my conversation with Rebecca on the show page, which is myhelps.us. I will link out to her book, her YouTube channel, her website, and her social media handles so that you guys can, and also her podcast, so you guys can continue to get some more of this information, because I know that you know someone that would fit into this kind of character slot. Someone that, even if they're not even full HCPs, someone just likes to get the best of you and always make your life miserable, whether at work or at home. Like she said, it could be family members, it could be somebody you work with, it could be your husband, it could be your best friend, it could be anybody. Yeah. And there's more of them out there than not. And as you were talking, I remember Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie has been fighting for 8 years. And I'm sure that's a high conflict.
Somebody's high conflict going on there. I don't know which one, but somebody is.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of Transforming Your Mind to Transform Your Life. If you're watching this on iTunes, we'd love for you to give a rating and a review. If you're watching on YouTube, we'd love for you to subscribe. Rebecca, thanks so much for being on the show. I enjoyed our conversation, and good luck. Until next time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye.